Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Aku Obi, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what you must put in place when you want to travel for studies abroad, especially in Canada. When I started my Canada journey, I just, try to get things in order, things that would probably not make me call Nigeria again from Canada. I try to ask a lot of questions and did my research. So I'm going to be giving you a list of these things that I did back in Nigeria before I left. And to date, these things have been helping me because I didn't have to run helter skelter trying to get one document or the other just so that, I would fulfill a requirement somewhere. As soon as I knew that I needed to leave Nigeria, the first thing I did was to renew my passport. When I did that renewal, I still had like 2 years validity on my passport, but I measured it with the time that I needed to be in Canada. By then, I haven't even submitted my study permit application. So from the day that I just discovered, you know what, I need to leave Nigeria for Canada to study, I knew the first thing to do was my passport renewal because there's a lot that goes with your passport. As you're applying for your study permits, you need your passports. Your passport's validity determines the validity of your study permit. Even though you can apply for renewal later, it just helps to get a passport that will carry you for the period of your study and after your study. I don't want to be in another man's land trying to renew my passport or trying to look out for, where I should go do those things. By the way, doing them in Naira is always cheaper than in dollars or Canadian dollars. So I called somebody and I told them, this is my situation. I'm trying to apply for studies abroad. The current validity of my passport wouldn't carry me for the period of study, and that's why I want to renew. Usually, they'll tell you that, oh, you need 6 months, at most 6 months validity on your passport before you renew, but that's not true. So I made sure to do a 10 years validity passport in Nigeria before leaving. Yeah, I'm glad I made that decision today because when you come to Canada, renewing your passport here is more expensive. You have to travel to another city in most cases. You have to travel to another province in most cases to go renew your passport. And by the way, your study permit when it's getting expired or when the validity is ending, if you want to extend it, you have to reapply for extension. All of that. I just didn't want that stress. So I made sure to get a 10 years validity passport in Nigeria before I left Nigeria. So that was the first thing that I did. Number two thing that I did was to gather relevant information. Well, the passport's, renewal is going on. I'm asking for other relevant information that would help me when I get to Canada or in the entire process. So try to do your research, your course of study, what is your future plan, what is your goal. Gone are the days when people just want to leave for living sake, so they just choose any course they want. Studying abroad, I must tell you, is very expensive. It's a very huge investment. You don't want that investment to just go down the drain because you are not strategic in making your choices. So if you need to consult with a consultant, it's highly recommended. I don't advise anybody to use agents, especially for Canada. If you want to use agents, make sure that they are regulated, as in they are licensed to do that job. If they don't have the title of RCIC, if they're not regulated or they are not licensed, do not trust them. They might just take your money and run away with it. So be very careful. One thing that I love about Canada is the transparency of everything. You can go online to see whether your agent is licensed. Like Canada has a list of the licensed immigration consultants on the website. You can go there and check. Anything about Canada is online. It's only if you're lazy. I think it's only when you're lazy to get your own information you'll be defrauded. And everything you need to know about Canada immigration is online. They have websites. Go and read for yourself. Now, when it comes to interpretation, then you can say, okay, you don't really understand some part of it, and then you can ask somebody. But generally, it's very simple. It's straightforward. It's not hidden. The third thing that I would say you should consider is your WES evaluation. What WES evaluation did for me is that it made me reduce the number of times that I go to my Nigerian school for transcripts. So WES, that's the World Education Service, they had my transcript already. They had my BSc certificate. So whenever I'm applying to schools and the school is asking for transcripts, a lot of these schools they would accept your transcripts from WES, even if it's not directly from your school. For anything that has to do with Nigerian government offices, I just try to avoid it. Getting a transcript from my school, I attended a state university. Whenever you want to apply for transcripts in my school, you literally have to go through a lot of stress and hell. So as soon as I could get my transcript from the school to WES, that cuts a very long pipeline for me. Once I see that the school is open to WES transcript, I just go to my WES profile and I request that my transcripts be sent to the school. In less than 24 hours, max 48 hours, WES will send it to the school. Of course, you have to pay for it, but it was fast, it was swift, and it saved me the stress of going through Nigerian schools. Another point I want to make has to do with the program and the school you attend. Now, not every program is eligible for a long term plan in Canada, for instance, and not every school is eligible for that. You want to make sure that the school you are going to apply to is postgraduate work permit eligible. There are a lot of schools in Canada, but not all of them offer postgraduate work permit. Now, the postgraduate work permit allows you to stay back in Canada for some period of time to work full time before maybe you leave Canada or find more permanent ways to stay. So, you want to make sure that the school is eligible for that. It's not all schools in Canada that are eligible for postgraduate work permits. You also want to make sure that, the school is a DLI, that's a designated learning institution. There is a website on the Canadian government website where you can check schools that are postgraduate work permit eligible and schools that are DLIs. I'm going to add the links in the description box so that you can go straight ahead. You can type the name of the school and see if it is PGWP eligible or if it's a DLI. Everything about Canada is transparent. They are all available online. You don't need people to do these things for you. If not, some people might defraud you. It's always verifiable. That's one thing I like about Canada. Another thing to note is having clear academic direction. What is the plan for that course you're studying? How does it support your future goals? Have a clear direction as to what you want to achieve from that program. Gone are the days where people just wanted to go to school, just coming to Canada from there. Right now, Canada is very, very particular about your program. There are programs that are in demand in Canada. So if you study those programs, your chances of maybe staying back after studies or getting a permanent residency is very, very sure, or at least high. The probability is high. So you want to be strategic in choosing your program. You want to be strategic in, having a clear academic direction and making sure that that direction matches your future goals and your future immigration goals. Another important thing to note is your test of English. You can either take IELTS, IELTS, or CELPIP. They have certain English tests and I think TOEFL as well that you need to submit with your school application. Most schools ask for test of English, although recently a lot of them have started exempting Nigeria from that list of countries that require test of English. However, if your school requires that, you need to write IELTS academic. That's the one that is used for school. You might need to write it more than once, and that's why it's always good to start early. So write your test of English. Now, if you don't want to write a test of English, you have another option of getting a letter from your school. Your school has to state it there that you were instructed, like you were taught in English. So you either get that letter or you write the test. For me, I wrote the test because, like I said, the school where I did my bachelor's, everything, getting anything there is very stressful. So I'd rather just try other options first, except where absolutely necessary, like the transcripts case. Another very important thing, in fact, the oga pata pata of everything that I have mentioned so far, is money, funding. You need a lot of money when it comes to Canada education, unless you have a scholarship. You can also apply for scholarships. If you know you don't have funding, you can start applying for scholarships very early and see how it goes. A lot of people are studying in Canada on scholarships. For me, I didn't have that opportunity, so I had to self-fund my education. Funds can come from your sponsors, your family members, yourself. Very important for Canada is your ability to explain your source of funds. So don't just come and show $100,000 in your bank statement. They would ask you for your source of fund with evidence. How did the money come about? These are some of the things you explain when you're applying for study permits. You don't just show a bank statement of millions or thousands of dollars. You have to explain the source with evidence. So if it's from a business, you have to show the business documents. If it's from your salary that you've been saving, you have to show pay slips. If it's from your sponsor, for instance, you have an uncle who decided to sponsor you, your uncle has to also show the source of his funds. Like, if it's from his business, he has to show that this money is from his business, incorporation documents for the business, for example, the CAC documents, the tax filing of the business, just to make sure that these things are legit and that the business actually exists. So, proof of funds, you have to think anything about Canada is funds. So, the earlier you start planning, the better for you. Now, one very important thing in this journey of Canada immigration for studies is your time and mental preparation. You have to be prepared. Sometimes, in fact, a lot of times, things may not go as planned. So just prepare your mind. As you're praying, it's good to be prayerful, and just put the right things into place. But then just put your mind that, things can go the other way. And sometimes it might mess up with, your plans and all of that. So, mental health preparation, your time is going to be required. You need to put in time into all of this. So, based on all that I have mentioned, I hope that I have been able to explain some of the things that you would need to start your Canada journey. In summary, I hope that I was able to help you with relevant information. So, let me know if you have any comments, any questions in the comment section. And like my videos, share the videos, and also subscribe to my channel because I will be doing a series on my journey so far in Canada, and I hope you learn a thing or two from it. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing some hard truths as to why I think some Nigerians fail on the study route for Canada, and the mistakes people make and what you should avoid. So subscribe for more, and I'll see you in my next video.